Hi everyone, this is Lori at Lori Art Creations. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm doing a Dollar Tree DIY farmhouse shutters video for everybody. I've gotten a great response on my creation here and thought I'd show everybody how I made these. These farmhouse shutters were made using Dollar Tree items. They're lightweight shutters and each one of them measures 10 inches by 30 inches. Here's what you're going to need to make these. Need two of the 20-inch wide by 30-inch tall foam boards. White is best for this color shutters, but of course you can use black or any other color depending on what color you're going to actually finish painting them. You're going to need two Dollar Tree garden fences, an adhesive spray or tacky glue from the Dollar Tree, a metal or hard plastic ruler, and a razor knife. Painter's tape or any tape that you have on hand that can temporarily hold pieces in place while you assemble, and of course a pencil for marking. Now you're also going to need a paintbrush or two, along with paint colors of your choosing. My paint colors were a gray, a taupe, and two different shades of white to get the shade that I wanted to have on my shutters. Before we begin, I just want to encourage everyone to make good measurements. With all the lines and angles involved with this project, if you're impatient just a little bit when you measure and rush through that part of the process, then there's a good chance that your project lines might not end up straight. So please take the time to be precise when you measure, and you should end up with a great pair of shutters. Also note, I want to suggest that if you have any scrap foam board, to lay it down under what you're cutting to protect your table from the razor knife. Also, if you position your razor's blade to only cut through one layer of the foam board, this will make your cutting easier. Here's an example of my blade adjustment on my razor knife. Let's get started. You're going to take the first foam board and you're going to measure 10 inches in from the side and draw a cutting line as seen in the left picture on the left hand side. Then using your metal ruler or plastic ruler and a razor knife, cut down the line to make two even pieces of the board. It's easiest to push your razor knife up against the metal edge and just continue to put that pressure and run all the way down. That gives me my straight lines. This is what you should have at this point. Using the second foam board now, we're going to measure and cut 4 strips that are 1.5 inches wide by 30 inches long. Then we're going to measure and cut 6 strips that are 1.5 inches wide by 7 1/8 inches long. The 1.5 inch wide is how wide all your border strips are going to be. This is what you should have at this point for each shutter. One 10 by 30 inch piece, 2 of the 1.5 by 30 inch pieces, and then 3 of the 1.5 by 7 1/8 inch pieces. I know there's only 2 showing here, but you actually need 3 for each shutter. Now we're going to make these 4 cross pieces that are angled, and what you need to do first is to cut strips that are 1.5 inches wide by approximately 14.5 inches long. These are the crossbars that are going to be angled. Get your angles. Use your painter's tape to temporarily arrange all the border pieces on your shutter, and then measure halfway down from the 30-inch long side. Go down about 15 inches to the center and center your middle piece in there at that 15-inch mark, and this will allow you to lay the strip you want to angle into position and mark your cut lines on that angled piece with a pencil. Once you cut those angled pieces, remove all the pieces off of your large shutter board. Take all your tape off of all the pieces. Now what you're going to do is you're going to mark the big shutter board itself every 2.5 inches down the 30-inch length, as I've shown you in the left-hand side there. Then you're going to draw lines down the whole length of the board connecting those marks. Now you're going to use your ruler and razor knife and lightly score down that 30-inch length of board, only going about a quarter of the way into the foam board. This is the process that I use to get the look of the wood panels in the background on my shutters. Now you're going to go back and erase any pencil lead marks so that they won't bleed through your paint. It's time to glue your shutter pieces together to the main board. So I used the spray adhesive because it allowed me a lot of coverage and it dried really fast. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all your edge pieces and you're going to put them on piece by piece using your spray, and then you get it on and line it up with the edges of your board. Make sure they're perfectly lined up. And once you place them down, I don't think you're going to be able to move them too well, so make sure that you get that down the first time if you can. Use books to hold pieces in place while they dry. It doesn't take very long at all for this glue to dry, so you'll be moving the books around on the board as you place your pieces. When you go to add the angled pieces, you might have to adjust them just a little bit to get them to fit snugly. Once everything's glued down though, allow the entire shutter to dry for a few minutes. Now it's time to paint. Because I wanted a base coat to not be stark white, I dulled it down with a little tiny bit of the taupe color, just a very small amount. I did only one coat with the white, and I just didn't want it to be real stark. So you can see in the image on the right hand side the before and the after, how it kind of toned it down. Now, after painting the fronts and sides of the shutters white, I noticed that the panels were like bowing upwards. If you look in the left-hand side picture, you can kind of see where it started to bow up. So to remedy this, I painted the backs of the shutters with the taupe color that I had on hand and miraculously evened the boards out, pulling them back into place. So I suggest that you do this step so you don't have a warped shutter, and of course you can use any color paint you want for your backing. While the boards dry, work on the faux hardware for the shutters. Using two Dollar Tree garden fences and the garden shears, cut the 3 stake pieces off the bottoms of both fences and make sure that you cut as straight as possible and evenly, because all 3 need to be the exact same size, and you probably will want to use the rest of the garden fence for another project, so you kind of want to keep it intact, I'm sure. We're going to cut the connecting pins and the slots that those pins go into off both sides of the fence. Again, cut those as straight as possible. They just work great. They have such a narrow blade on them that they really did a great job cutting. Now we're going to go back to the shutter boards. Using a mix of the gray and taupe colors, begin distressing the boards by lightly dry brushing the edges and some of the spots in the middle. You can vary the color a little bit if you add a little of the darker paint to your mixture. It gives the piece a little bit of depth to it. Also, you want to lightly run that brush up those scored lines that we did earlier with the razor knife. And run it all the way up the lines in the center of your shutter to give the illusion of a long board. Your shutter should look like this, and we're almost there. Add that faux hardware. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue that one slot piece, or we're going to glue the slot pieces on there, all of them, but we're going to take it and put it right on the edge of the bottoms and tops of the shutters with a glue gun. The glue gun is cool because you can roll that piece and make it sit the way you want it to look so that you don't see the back side of it, which kind of didn't look so great anyway. Then we're going to attach that stake piece right up next to it as shown below. There, you're going to have your hinges right there. Next, we're going to glue the last two stake pieces in the center bar of each of the shutters, and look at how I kind of reverse them. And then I'm going to take that pin piece and I'm going to glue it on top of the inner edge of those stakes. So your end result should look like the photo on the very right. That's it, guys. These shutters are done. You can add hangers on the back of them if you want to hang them on the wall, or you can just let them rest on a shelf or cabinet and let them lean against the wall. Use them like regular shutters that you would buy at Michael's. I can't believe this project only cost me, it cost me under $5 to do this project. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project. If you do give this project a try. I hope you've enjoyed this DIY video. I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.